The Senate will come to order.
The House has passed a clean, nonpartisan, continuing resolution to fund the government until November the 21st. The President is ready to sign it. But Senate Democrats, they're standing in the way. This is ready to pass right now. This keeps the government open. This funds the government and protects federal workers and the American people from the hostage taking that has become, evidently, now the Democrat norm, even though it's something they decried not that many years ago. It's the Democrats' far-left base and far-left senators have demanded a showdown with the president. And the Democrat leaders have bowed to their demands. And apparently, the American people just have to suffer the consequences. And so Democrats have a choice to make. They can shut down the government and subject the American people to all the problems that come with the shutdown, many of which, as I said, they've enumerated in the countless quotes they've made in the past. Or they can join Republicans to pass a clean, nonpartisan, short-term funding bill and keep the government's lights on.
I thank the leader for letting me borrow his chart for a minute. So he's pointed to each of these bar graphs, percentage of Democratic senators who supported Biden and their CRSs. Yes, that's true. Guess why? In each case, Democrats negotiated with Republicans and said, let's have a bipartisan bill. The leader says it's a clean bill. It's a partisan bill. Not once were Democrats asked for what input should be in the bill. We were not told about it. We were not asked about it, et cetera.
What we do all the time around here is witnessed by the chart that you're just using there.
We stand at the precipice of a government shutdown because Republicans are not serious about keeping the government open. Too many Republicans are lying through their teeth. They say, oh, the Democrats want undocumented immigrants to get health care, to get the federal dollars of health care. That is utter bull, and they know it. The law prohibits undocumented immigrants from getting payments from Medicare, Medicaid, or the ACA. There's no money, not a penny, of federal dollars that are going there. So why do they bring this up? Because they're afraid to talk about the real issue, which is health care for American citizens.
A different issue. So don't throw that into this mix.
It was not.
But
it was
what
not
we're
an
talking
entirely
about,
different
the
issue.
Democrat leader and his colleagues have the same leverage on November the 21st. This is a short-term CR. This is what we do all the time around here, as witnessed by the chart that you're just using there. 24 pages long, funds the government till November the 21st, at which time you have the same leverage then that you have right now, and we have until the end of the year to fix the ACA credit issue. And we're happy, as I said yesterday and have said on multiple occasions, to sit down with you to do that.
Thank you. Now, reclaiming my time.
Nice.
They did not agree to the bills that the leader is talking about because they said explicitly, Democrat and Republican, there are two issues they can't resolve.
All right, you're looking at live pictures actually moments ago on the floor of the United States Senate, where you see the minority leader there, Chuck Schumer, in a mano-a-mano discussion with the Senate Majority Leader, John Thune, over the impending government shutdown. The Democrats want to extend tax credits for the Affordable Care Act and prevent cuts from Medicaid that are going into this House-passed bill. And of course, the Senate, at least the Republicans, well, we should say both sides, are entrenched in their positions. They have until midnight to pass a new government funding bill, but as we've been indicating all morning long, they seem to be deadlocked on those negotiations, and they're each blaming the other side for failing to concede. So I want to bring in CBS News White House reporter Aaron Navarro. Aaron, we hear from you as to what the administration has said in terms of this inevitable government shutdown. I know the president of the United States is essentially saying that if it happens, it's the Democrats' fault. Of course, the Democrats are saying it's the Republicans' fault. There is some polling out there that suggests that by a tiny margin, the Republicans may be the ones that face the most criticism over this. But again, there's other polls out there that suggest the inverse. So what are you hearing?
Yeah, Vlad, in terms of the polling and who kind of gets blamed for this by voters, we'll see kind of what the impacts and how long this potential shutdown could be. But the White House is certainly not optimistic that they can avoid a shutdown. In fact, they're already preparing for it. The administration has already sent kind of memos on guidance about to federal employees about, what it would look like if they're furloughed, and have continued the blame game on Democrats. You saw last night President Trump post a video on Truth Social of House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, with Jeffries in a mustache and sombrero, so some AI use there. Jeffries has already said that the video is, quote, disgusting, and said, quote, bigotry will get you nowhere. And then from this morning, President Trump told reporters before his speech in Quantico that, quote, a lot of federal workers might be fired if the government shuts down. That's referencing the instruction from the White House to federal agencies that if there is a shutdown, that they should not only look into furloughs of government employees where they stay home from work without pay, but mass layoffs. Mandatory national security-related programs will not be impacted by that, but they're certainly taking this opportunity to potentially cut down the government in a dramatic fashion should a shutdown happen.
All right, Aaron Navarro reporting from Washington for us. Aaron, thank you very much, my friend. I want to bring in Kristen Brengel. She is the Senior Vice President of Government Affairs at the National Parks Conservation Association. Ma'am, thanks for waiting while we wrapped up the president's speech there to those senior commanders. I know you've been on the docket for a while now. So let me just ask you, if the government does shut down, how would that impact national parks?
Essentially, national parks would not have any staff to run them. It would be essential staff only. And last time around during the shutdown, we saw a lot of vandalism, damage to parks, poaching of wildlife. And so we're really concerned about the effects of the shutdown on our national parks.
And during the 2018-2019 shutdown, the Trump administration did keep national parks accessible to the public without staff. Could that happen again? And what does that look like? And how difficult does it make it for the staff when inevitably the shutdown is over to come back to their jobs when people have been sort of going through those parks without any guidance from them?
Yeah, the main reason that we have our national parks is because we love these resources. We love these places that we go to visit, whether it's, the Arches in Arches National Park or waterfalls in Yosemite. And so people want these places well protected. What we saw last time was off-road vehicle damage throughout parks, vandalism, graffiti. Some buildings were broken into last time around. And so when you don't have enough staff to manage these national park units and you're still making them accessible to the public, damage can happen. And one of the most horrific things that happened last time around was someone chopped down part of a Joshua tree for firewood. And so when you don't have rangers, when you don't have the proper staff in our national parks, we see this damage that happens and there's no one to stop it. So we're worried about going into this shutdown, what could happen and how they're going to either allow or not allow the public into parks. But we really want to send a message to folks that we're all in this together and we want to protect these resources. And, and this is a tough time of year. This is October. It's actually a beautiful time of year to go to our national parks. So we know a lot of folks want to go there, about 1 million a day visit our national parks in October. And it contributes about $80 million to the economy per day. So we know people want to get into these places. We do too, but in a government shutdown, there's so few staff and so many possibilities for damage or people getting hurt that it just doesn't make sense to keep them open. We would prefer that they just close during a shutdown.
All right, really good advice. Kristen Brengel, thank you very much, and thank you for what you do. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Congressional Democrats were on the steps of the House this morning calling for their Republican colleagues to come back to Congress to negotiate a continuing resolution to keep the government open. Without a deal, government funding will stop at 12:01 a.m. Eastern Time on October 1st. Shanelle Kaul was listening in this morning. And Shanelle, thank you for joining us. Who was at this presser this morning and what did they have to say?
Well, Mugo, good to see you. So we're just hours away from a potential government shutdown. And today, the Congressional Tri-Caucus, which essentially is made up of Black, Hispanic, and Asian caucus members, held a press conference. So here it was. And during that press conference, they said, quote, President Trump is out of touch with the American people. Now, the fight here, Mugo, is over a continuing resolution, which would basically allow government funding to continue through November. Republicans are saying the resolution is, quote, clean and would simply allow the government to remain open. Now, Democrats, they are saying they will not vote for anything that doesn't restore funding to healthcare that was cut by that so-called big, beautiful bill. Today, they talked about the impact those cuts could have on our access to health care. They're arguing, Mugo, that seniors will not be able to afford medication. They also argue, Mugo, that many families will simply forego getting critical care that they may need. The Democrats are also accusing Republicans of misleading the public about health care benefits and who would be able to receive them. Here's more from Representative Adriano Aspia.
They're saying that the undocumented will be eligible for this. A flat-out lie. To weaponize the immigration issue in this critical crossroad and debate. So we're here to say to the American people, they are lying. They are the majority in the House of Representatives. They are the majority in the Senate. They're running the White House, and some would argue they may be even running the Supreme Court. They're controlling every aspect of government. This is their shutdown. This is not our shutdown. This is their shutdown. So we're here to fight.
And Mugo, those caucus members were also today calling for House Republicans to come back to the table and work out a bipartisan budget that would avert a government shutdown.
All right, Shanelle Kaul, thank you so much for that report.